Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into one of retirement's biggest fears, and we're going to tackle it with a really unique financial tool that you've probably never even heard of, the contingent annuity. I mean, just think about that question for a second. It's the one thing that can keep you up at night, right? You spend decades, literal decades, saving up. You finally hit that magic number and then, bam, the market just tanks right at the exact moment you need to start living off that money. It's a terrifying thought for sure, and it's exactly the problem we're going to unpack today. So this brings us to this huge what if in retirement. It's a risk that every single retiree faces, and you know what? It has nothing to do with how well you saved or planned. It's all about timing and a little bit of luck. And this risk actually has a name. It's called sequence of returns risk. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Let's imagine a new retiree, we'll call her Alex. She's got $1 million portfolio. Now, if the market drops, say, 20% in her very first year of retirement, Alex is suddenly pulling money from a much smaller pot, and that can just totally wreck how long her money lasts. It's a really powerful threat to a secure retirement. So how in the world do you protect yourself against something you can't control? Well, what if? What if you could buy an insurance policy, not for your car, but for your investment portfolio's income stream, like a safety net that's there to catch you only if you fall. And, beyond all the numbers, this gives you a huge psychological boost. It's the freedom to stay invested without that constant fear that a crash is going to derail your entire plan. And that safety net is what's called a contingent annuity. Now, the most interesting part of this is that last phrase, without you having to move your assets. I want you to think of this less like a new investment and more like a protective wrap that you just place around the brokerage account you already have, the one you already control. And wow, this slide really illustrates the key difference perfectly. See, with a traditional annuity, you basically hand over a chunk of your money to an insurance company. But with a contingent annuity, your money stays right where it is. You keep your advisor, you stick with your investment strategy, and most importantly, you maintain control. That is a fundamental game-changing distinction. Okay, so how does this safety net actually work in the real world? Let's go back to our retiree, Alex, and just walk through how this whole thing would play out, step by step. So it's a really simple but powerful chain of events. First, Alex buys that insurance wrap for her $1 million portfolio. Then, she starts taking her planned $50,000 withdrawals each year. But then, a nasty bear market hits, and over time, her account balance eventually hits zero. The moment that happens, the insurance company steps in and starts sending Alex a check for $50,000 every single year for the rest of her life. The income, it's protected. So the biggest pro here, and I really can't say this enough, is control. You don't have to liquidate your portfolio, you get to keep your advisor, and you get this powerful backstop against that nasty sequence of returns risk. It's all about income security without giving up control. But of course, there are always trade-offs. This protection, it's not free. It comes with fees. And the contracts have very strict rules about how much you can take out, which can limit your flexibility. Plus, let's be honest, if the market does great your whole retirement, you could end up paying for insurance you never actually needed. It's a classic cost-benefit analysis you have to make. Now, it's super important to understand that a contingent annuity isn't your only option out there. So let's kind of zoom out for a second and see where it fits in the bigger picture of retirement income products. This chart lays it all out beautifully. You see, if you want to keep full market exposure and control, the contingent annuity really stands out. But if your main goal is protecting your principal, you just don't want to lose a dime, then a fixed index annuity or an FIA might be a better fit. And for just simple, predictable returns, you've got things like a multi-year guaranteed annuity or MYGA. As you can see, the right choice really depends on what you care about most: growth, safety, or control. All right, let's shift gears and get into some rapid-fire questions. These are the things you should absolutely be asking before you even think about a product like this. First one up, and it's a big one. Does this insurance mean my $1 million portfolio is safe from dropping in value? And the answer is a very clear yes. You absolutely still face market risk. This is not principal protection. Let me repeat that. It is not principal protection. Your account value can go up. It can go down. The insurance only protects the income you get if, and only if, that account hits zero. Okay, next question. What if I have an emergency? The roof starts leaking. Can I just take out some extra money? The answer here is absolutely critical. If you break the rules and take out more money than the contract allows, you could seriously damage or even completely void the entire lifetime guarantee. These contracts demand discipline. You have to stick to the plan. And the other big question everyone always has, what about my kids? What do my heirs get when I pass away?
The answer here really depends on one simple thing. Has the insurance kicked in yet? If you pass away while your investment account still has money in it, your heirs get whatever is left. Simple as that. But if the account has already run dry and the insurance company is the one paying your income, then there's usually nothing left to inherit.
So after going through all of that, we get to the most important question of all. How do you know if this is a strategy that's even worth exploring for your own retirement plan?
When it comes right down to it, it often boils down to the single choice. If your number one non-negotiable priority is keeping your existing investments and your advisor, if that control is everything to you, then a contingent annuity was basically designed for you. On the other hand, if you're more concerned with protecting your principal and you want simpler rules, an FIA is probably the better way to go.
And here it is, a final checklist. This product is really built for a specific person. We're talking about someone with a large investment account who really loves their financial advisor, is worried about bad market timing, and is willing to pay a fee to keep the control they're used to. It's for people who prioritize that control and flexibility above all else. And that brings us to the final question, and this one is really personal. At the end of the day, you're not buying an investment here. You're buying insurance for your income. So you have to ask yourself, is that peace of mind, that absolute knowledge that you can't outlive your income, is that worth the cost? That's really the heart of the decision. Thanks for tuning in.